Welcome to Shardcast, the Brandon Sanderson podcast. We're a bunch of mega fans giving you the news discussion and, of course, all opinions about Brandon's works in the Cosmere. I'm Eric, and joining me is Ian.
Hey, I'm Weird Writer.
Also joining me is Evgeni.
Hi. I am not a tree. I am an ant.
Yes. Yes.
An arch. So like an archfey, but an arch ant. That almost works.
Arch ant. Last but not least, looking completely thrilled about that is Adim.
Hey, I'm X.
Yeah, we're here. I'm here. I think previously I showed off Awala water bottles. I have an even bigger one now that has a huge handle. It's good. Not sponsored, but you should get them. They're really nice. I have 3 of them now.
Sponsor us, Awala.
Yes. I mean, I don't think they need sponsorship. They're doing pretty well, I think. They are all over the place. Anyway, on Chaos, we're gonna do more Words of Brandon. We are in April in our WoBs. Yes.
We do have some news.
Oh, do we? Oh, we didn't talk about this in the pre-show at all.
Yeah. Well, reminder, Blightshore is next month. It's coming fast. Be excited.
You said Blightshore.
Did I say Blightshore?
You did say Blightshore.
Amazing.
But
in that D&D game, Blightshore is very important.
Is next month.
Riftshore.
Riftshore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Book 1 of the Riftwake trilogy series. I don't know what it's called officially. But also, we are recording this the weekend that Gen Con is happening.
Oh, yes, true.
Which, for those of you who are super into the TTRPG board game space, like, is a giant TTRPG board game convention that's in Chicago?
Nope. I think it's Indianapolis.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Indianapolis. That sounds right.
Yeah.
They had their tornado warning yesterday, I think.
It was definitely Midwest. It's definitely Midwest, for sure.
Indiana Convention Center.
But brother-wise, when they're representing themselves and also all of the Cosmere work they do, they announced, which we already knew, I think, the expansion for the Mistborn deck building game for the Well of Ascension that's coming this fall. And they also started heavily teasing the Kickstarter for the new asymmetric war board game, Stormlight War for Roshar, which is coming to Kickstarter October 13th.
Oh, we have a date for it now? Oh, nice.
Johnny posted it on Blue Sky.
Great.
Johnny Brotherwise himself.
Johnny Brotherwise.
Johnny Brotherwise. Yes.
And then there were like some teases. They've not posted the video of their panel yet, if they're going to. So we're working off things that were posted in the Cosmere RPG channel on the Discord.
True.
But they did some teases for the Cosmere RPG solo handbook, which is like an adaptation of the rule set that you can play by yourself, which is handy for people who can't find people to play with.
Yeah. Just a lot of people. And
also tease for the next like hardcover adventure, which is a follow-up to Stonewalkers called Tidebreakers.
Yeah.
Which is set in the Reshi Isles, apparently.
Higher level adventure.
Compound words in the Stormlight.
And I saw
like Tidebreakers peak name.
That's great. Honestly, really close to a alternate universe Radiant Order name. Like, 100% good. Sounds great. And I think Tidebreakers, I think they said it's going to be level 10 through 16. So that's fun.
It picks up like right after where like Stonewalkers had.
Yeah.
No, it is 10 to 16.
Okay.
Someone did report that it is meant to, like, you can pick it up after Stonewalkers. There is going to be Shadesmar
Showdown in Shadesmar.
Showdown in Shades. Yeah, little like I don't think I would call it a tie-in. I think it's just like a little 6 to 10 or 8 to 12 or something like that.
Is it like the bridge 8 or whatever, the like intro?
No. It's not like that. I don't know if we know much more than the name, but I'm desperately trying to find sources for that. But someone said that you can do Stonewalkers and then Shadesmar and then Tidebreakers.
Okay. So it's it's sort of like Oathbringer-ish time frame, Oathbringer into the 4 in terms of like where it lines up with the books.
Well, Stonewalkers already goes Oathbringer times.
You probably want a little past Oathbringer so you can have like fused in Shadesmar.
I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite sure in the timeline where Battle for Thalen Field happens in relation with Stonewalkers. That's good. I have 2 sessions of Stonewalkers left to do in my session, so I'm excited to play.
You're gonna need stuff to do.
I'll need stuff to do. Hopefully, I can swear some ideals off screen. That'd be great. I don't want to take the ideal talents. They're not good talents until you swear the ideal.
Yeah.
They're absolutely awful.
Funny enough, speaking of ideals and progression in the Cosmere RPG, some other stuff they talked about at Gen Con was the Ferochemist and the Twinborn paths. That will be available in the Mistborn setting of the Cosmere RPG.
That's true.
Video will probably come up at some point. If not, they will post things. If not, you can hop in the Cosmere RPG channel and find the photos that people were taking. But Ferochemy works like Fabrials, so it's a charge-based system.
Sure. That makes sense.
Obviously, there are no oaths for you to progress towards, like in a Radiant path, but there will be kind of the equivalent, which is you train your skills with the metals to progress further down the talent tree.
Oh yeah, those require some very high skill points, because that's one of the fun things you can do. Is as a Radiant, you can very few surge talents are restricted by tier, and you could just go to the end and have some of the most OP stuff ever. So,
and they also talked about Mistborn Legacy, which is their capstone adventure into Mistborn setting in the way that Stonewalkers was in the original Stormlight one. But for obvious reasons,
more expensive, because it's like it span Era 1 and Era 2, or is the Era 2 part can be a separate thing that they release later?
It is Era 1 and Era 2.
Yes.
But it's not twice the size. So it's, my understanding is that it's roughly the same scope as Stonewalkers. It is just split between the two eras.
Mm-hmm.
And events in one affect kind of how the story goes in the other, which is an interesting idea that I'm very interested in seeing how it pans out.
I'm very interested as well.
And like the titular legacies involved.
Yeah, there's mechanics. I'm very excited for all this. With Tidebreakers is going to be not this October, but October 2027. Yeah, because Mistborn, when are we getting the Mistborn stuff? Soon. Right? Very soon. Yeah. So we'll have stuff very soon with that. We'll have Tidebreakers next October. I'm actually very excited about the board game. That sounds that's what I want.
God, I wish I was.
Do you guys want us to, if we can do this on Tabletop Simulator, we'll stream it or we play it. That'd be fun.
I think that's the only way you can convince me to play that game. If it's like
you don't have to play it. You don't have to play it, Evgeni. We can have other people on the cast play it. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't know if there will be a version on Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah, if there's not, that would be tough. So
yeah, because like it's like a rights issue where like it's a video game and like otherwise doesn't have rights to video games, even video games based on board games.
Then that might be a gray area that we can't stream a bootleg version of that. That might not be the best idea.
Or for Crab Planet.
Yeah.
Or something. Legally distinct Roshar.
Legally distinct Roshar.
Warren Crab World. The obvious way to do that is every one of us sets up our own board at home. We put a camera up top, and then we sync our boards by hand.
I think you guys would love to set up an overhead camera view with me not being able to help you set that up. I think everyone on the cast would love doing that and not be like, oh my God, what is going on? That
sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Jess and I are very excited for the board game. I know David is as well. So, lots of Brotherwise is just they're killing it. They have so much stuff coming.
It sounds like it'd be fun to play at a convention or something. But
and I think I saw something about they have loose plans for like a worker placement management type game.
Oh, is that your jam?
It's very early stages and may never happen, but like more games, more excuses for art. I'm down.
Would this be set in like Earth-Through or something?
They did not say anything more that I saw.
Shattered Plains Ecological Collapse Simulator. Manage your chasm feeds. That'd actually be very funny, I'll be honest.
There's only 50 of them left.
No, but I'm constantly impressed with Brotherwise. They're doing so much. They're doing so many things. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like just thinking legacy and then another big adventure in 2027 is like, okay. Because we're not getting a world book thing in 2027, right? Because it's Mistborn this year.
I believe it's the solo handbook is what's coming out.
So, okay, yeah. So solo handbook, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a rule book, but not like a setting book.
Yeah. Not like the Mistborn and the Stormlight ones. So it is a bit different. Great. We will pad our time to Ghostbloods 1. Don't you worry at all. There's plenty of content for us to discuss. And speaking of content, maybe let's try and finish the WoBs. maybe let's do that.
This questioner asks, at the end of Rhythm of War, someone came into the presence of cultivation and acknowledged her as a verdant presence. Would that make cultivation a verdant dragon? Are other dragons along the lines of matching with the other spore types? And would there be bone dragons? Brandon, this is yes. Let's give you a yes rather than a Raffo. These are not physical, but they are philosophical alignments, if that makes sense. Questioner, and bone dragons? Brandon, yes, philosophical. You're pushing for the Aethers, and it's not the Aethers. I see you doing that. That's where the mistake is being made. You need to realign to the 16, not to the Aethers, okay? Verdant is an unfortunate term that I used, but it does not correlate there. It correlates to the 16, if that wasn't confusing enough.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense that in Rhythm of War, when he hadn't figured out the Aether stuff, it's like, well, I mean, it's cultivation stuff. It's very verdant, you know? And would not...
Does it make sense that dragons are aligned with 16 shards when they predate the shattering?
I guess
that's
Brandon's meaning more is that they are in this Adonalcium line of stuff, whereas the Aethers claim to be outside of that. And so, yes, the dragons predate that, but presumably Adonalcium created the dragons. And so it is that Adonalcium investiture. And so it's aligned like that and does not have to do with the Aethers.
So she wouldn't have been a verdant dragon before the shattering?
Well, but like all the elements of the shards were in Adonalcium. So like I don't think that
yeah. But so, I'm the implication I'm getting is that there's 16 types of dragons.
I don't think it's that strong, personally. like you don't get any implication that Starling is aligned with a particular shard, right? Like I don't think that is a thing.
I mean, a white dragon could be aligned with preservation. You know,
but like she's not. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, like I feel like Brandon, like the questioner was focused more on dragons and Brandon was less focused on dragons. And just like, yeah, cultivation is green.
Yeah, I don't think I need to take this very like literally, right? Because like it's like a philosophical thing and like it seems pretty loosey-goosey to me.
I guess it comes down to if he's answering yes to like including the bone dragon thing, because verdant bone, and then you have like the essences and stuff, like 10 those are 10 essences. But if there's an implication that they're like colors of dragons like we see in other fantasy stories, if he's saying yes to that, then it seems to imply there are 16 colors of dragons, and then the follow-up to that would be why.
Which is why I don't think that's the case.
Yeah. Like, is 16 Cosmere important because there are 16 shards, or are there 16 shards because 16 is important to the Cosmere?
I think it's that second one. I think 16 was still important before then because Brandon numerology reasons. I don't know. Sure. But I think there can't be 16 colors of dragons because at least Brandon said shards don't necessarily all have a color, right? And so I don't think Brandon would want to.
I don't know if that still is the case.
I don't know. I'm just saying color scheme wise, if you have to do that, 16's kind of a big number.
Let's look at Shards of Creation. What colors are they choosing?
So Shards of Creation is actually a very valid thing to look at.
Okay, yeah.
Isaac did a little like YouTube short or an Instagram reel. It was like a short video that he posted somewhere where he talked about the creation process for the game a little bit. Mm-hmm. And if I recall correctly, one of the things that he mentioned offhandedly is that they being Dragonsteel for the most part, had to like sit down and think about all of the numbers associated with the shards and all of the colors associated with the shards, and what the vessels look like that we haven't seen before. I think he called out Whimsy as kind of an example of, well, we got to figure out what Whimsy looks like. And if I recall correctly, one of the things he mentioned was he talked about like so Honor has been associated with blue, so which blue do we give him? And someone else.
Devotion is also blue.
Devotion is also blue. So like how do we differentiate Honor blue from Devotion blue, from Alethi blue and Colin blue? And so I think in this decade, shards get colors and shards get numbers.
I think shards get like -1 or something in the.
Let me. If not colors, then like color themes so like. Yeah, Atium is going to be, reds and yellows, like the reds and golds and purples.
Sure.
For example.
Sure.
Shards don't necessarily have colors, but they do have color palettes.
Yeah. And I think all that can all be true. And there's no way they're thinking like, oh, what about the colors of the dragons with that? Like, I just think that this is a different axis. I do not think this is an aspect at all.
The logical follow-up to this would be to ask Brandon if there's a bone shard. And then if he says yes,
what does that
then we can connect that to the bone dragon.
I think this is more meaning that like there are philosophical overlaps between aethers and shards in some sense, but it's not a nice one-to-one mapping.
Yeah.
So like this could be like a suite of characteristics type thing.
And I think the 10 essences of Roshar are going to overlap somewhat, but not perfectly with those. The 12 aethers are going to overlap somewhat, but not perfectly with those. And it's just, I think when Brandon talks about this being philosophical, I think, like, if we were to go a little, I guess it would be Doyleist about it. Take the Cosmere away. There are ideas in philosophy, and I use philosophy a little bit loosely, but like there are ideas out there that in the world of the Cosmere can be split 16 ways and mapped to the shards. They can be split 10 or more ways and mapped to the 10 essences. They can be split 12. Like, I say 10 or more or 12 or more for the Aethers because not every single idea in existence needs to map to one of the 10 essences or one of the 12 Aethers or one of the 16 shards. If you are putting them in sets, you can say the idea of love, for example, goes to this shard, maybe it goes to this essence, maybe it goes to this Aether. And sometimes there's going to be overlap and sometimes there will not.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea of verdancy goes to cultivation, it goes to the verdant Aether, it goes to
pulp.
But the idea of something else might go to a shard, but might not go to an Aether or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I think this is just, there's similar themes. Brandon pulled on similar themes. I don't think there's actually anything mechanical going on here, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
At this point, Brandon probably would have used a different word than verdant.
He probably would have used a maybe different word. If he was revising it today, he would need to take great care if he chose to use that word.
Yeah.
And
but also yes, but also we should not hold them, like, we should not restrict words from him just because they have a meaning in other areas. Like, for words invented to describe specific Cosmere things, like Avatar, for example.
Great example.
We should hold them accountable and say, hey, when you say this word, you should mean this word. But like verdant or devoted or honorable, like,
right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's the realm of madness if you go too insane with it. Yeah, exactly. Agreed. Okay. Argent.
The next word of Brandon is prompted by moi. I was in attendance and I cut the line and I asked I didn't cut the line, I lined up. And I asked the question. And what I wanted to know was just kind of a vibe check on the relationship between shards and planets. So that's half question, half brainstorming exercise. If we were to swap Ruin and Preservation with Honor and Cultivation, so Honor and Cultivation go on Scadrial, Ruin and Preservation go to Rashar, how would you, Brandon, imagine the magic systems of those places changing and evolving? What would it be different? What would be different there? And Brandon says, it's a hard extrapolation because let's say Honor and Cultivation come to Scadrial. They have to make it because Scadrial was made. There's no spren. So how do their magic systems work? Does Cultivation create spren? Because they created a bunch of spren, but they had a model and a pattern, like, well, we'll do this, and extrapolate it. Would they come up with something else? Would they have talking bits of metal that you were carrying around that are your spren? That's possible. Metal tools, but awakening metal is really dangerous. But I can imagine that they could pull it off. What happens if Ruin and Preservation end up on Rashar? They are diametrically opposed, so I think you're going to see an alignment towards the spren are going to be more bifurcated, if that makes sense. If they were to create them, they might only create like 4 each. Definitely you would have multiples of... definitely you wouldn't have a multiple of 5. Instead, you'd have multiple of 4 or something like that, probably. the influence of honor pushing towards 10 is honor is pretty rigid, and ruin and preservations are not as rigid, is another thing. I don't know. You're asking a cool what if, but there's a few questions for you. And a quick follow-up from me. Would you say metal and polarity are kind of a ruin and preservation thing? And Brandon says, that's one of their things, yeah. Part of the thing is ruin corrupting a little bit things that exist. But Odium has a good time doing that too as well. So
He lost me with that numerology stuff about it wouldn't be a multiple of 5, but they'd be pushing for 10. And,
Sure, Brandon. That anytime he does this, I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah, like it honors 10 purposes, the recurring bane of us here at 17 Shardcast of like, so like, yeah, it makes sense that like ruin preservation wouldn't care. Like preservation specifically used 16 like as like his calling card with like the mist snappings. And like when he's talking about multiples for, like, I do believe he's talking about the sapient radiant tier spren, not the lower level spren.
Yeah. Yes. I absolutely, yes.
probably,
I
yeah.
agree.
Because this is in the context of the shards creating spren, and the radiant spren are the ones that were created by the shards.
I think the lower level ones were too just more passively, because they are like tied to honor and cultivation. Because there's the emotion and nature divide.
There is that, but when Honor is retelling the story of the world, he talks about how he and Core created 10, really 9 varieties of spren.
How odio me. Thanks.
Well, but 10 is, that's the bit where he talks about how one of the varieties were exclusively made of cultivation, and another variety was almost entirely made of him.
Yeah. So there's lots of little pieces to pick apart on this, to be honest. This is quite interesting. You were definitely getting at a WoB from long ago in 2008, when we were talking about how magic systems are not just necessarily based off the shards, but like the interaction between the shards and the planet, right? And so I think you're trying to get at, like, now that we know so much more, what can we expound on this, right?
Yeah, that was part of it. That maybe informed the question. It's not necessarily what I was gunning for. I wanted more of a thought exercise of, you take a shard, and maybe the problem was that I took 2 shards and that complicated things. But like Scadrial and Roshar are the worlds we are very familiar with, which is why I went there. But like my thought process was, well, let's take a shard, and that shard goes and, visits a bunch of worlds and creates a bunch of magics, and we're familiar with that. What would it look like if a different shard had visited those same worlds and set up magic? So like, it touches on the interaction between shards and worlds, but it's more, hey, how do you think about these things in your brain?
I like the random awakening metal is real dangerous, making me think of awakened steel mines, which are shrug emoji. I don't know. That's a thing for sure.
I'm sure they're fine.
Okay. Maybe, it's the spiritual integrity of the metal, and, that's just, it does things.
Like, I think it's more that metal was never alive, so it's like it doesn't really have a frame of reference to understand things, which is potentially dangerous.
Okay. Sorry, I had to walk down that logic for a second. I'm with you. Okay.
Yeah, it's like the Nightblood thing of like,
yeah, okay.
Nightblood was awakened to destroy evil, but he's a sword. He doesn't understand what evil is.
What about because the other inorganic stuff, though? Because I feel like metal is the only one that gets called out as being notably
a lot of
difficult.
a lot of the other stuff is tied back. Like in Warbreaker, at least, it is explained as sure it's inorganic, but it was organic at one point.
Or
so
you
cloth.
shape it to look organic.
Not only do you shape
t-
it, but like
yeah.
cloth comes from
Mhm.
Plant fabric or from animal fur and skin and stuff like
But
that.
like, what
And
about
so,
like inorganic stone and like minerals and
well,
that kind of
the Vasher's army of stone lifeless was notably, like, the stone itself was not awakened. It was the bones inside.
Yeah.
Well, the mixture, but the bones made it easier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cal's Phantoms are always interesting because it went through so many different things in the drafting process, which we know because we have all the drafts.
But like, if you did the same thing, but instead of stone, bones embedded in stone, which I'm still sort of fuzzy on how that was accomplished. But if you have metal instead of stone, like bones embedded in metal, why would I'm assuming that would be more difficult to awaken? Like, why?
I think this gets into like metal being tied to investiture. Because like that's a thing in
exactly.
Like Emberdark, right? Of like there being a connection between the shard's power and metal. But also it's been too long since I read Warbreaker.
It's been a long time since I've read Warbreaker, for sure.
Like there was like a level difference in like, because like you need to be of a certain heightening to awaken metal to begin with.
Yes.
But I think like stone was just easier. Oh wait, no, 9th heightening gives the ability to awaken stone and steel. Okay.
Yeah.
And I would wager it's not just those two. I think that information is very pertinent to the book that it comes from.
Yeah, I think that's getting into like organic stuff, like including stuff like cloth is baseline, and then like getting like the step removed to explicitly inorganic stuff is just more difficult.
Yeah.
Because it's less similar to yourself, and like similarity to oneself is just part of it.
Yeah.
Similarity to oneself, it's never been alive itself, and so that's more difficult as well.
Yeah, I think that category is probably just inorganic, but like for the purpose of the book, you need it to specifically say stone and like metal. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I think that's probably the danger, but it's just interesting when Brandon just offhandedly says that, right? It's like, oh, interesting. What's dangerous about Vivenna's sword, you know? Is that dangerous?
Yeah.
I don't know, right? It seems pretty fine to me, but I don't know. It's hard to say.
Well, finer than Nightblood, at least.
Finer than Nightblood. What else is in here?
It's unsurprising that Preservation and Ruin are kind of not based, but like if they were setting up a system, like I think not much of this was very interesting to me. The answer was not what I was hoping for. The thing that's perhaps most interesting to me is that if Ruin and Preservation were to settle on Roshar and therefore create spren, those spren would be kind of divided. It would be much more, because like Honor and Cultivation worked together, and so the spren are very much of Honor and Cultivation. If Laris and Ati were to do that instead, they would be like, even if they worked together, their spren would be much more opposed to one another. And in that opposition, we would get kind of a 4-way or an 8-way split between the types that they create. That was interesting to me.
Yeah. That totally
like
makes
it's like among the 10, like there really aren't spren that are opposites of one another. They just all have their own thing going on. And it's like there's like oppositions, but not polarities.
Yeah.
Whereas like hypothetical Ruin Preservation spren, like there would be polarities and axes of opposition.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the other interesting thing is this line at the end. Part of the thing is ruin corrupting. Odium has a good time doing that as well. Like, that's kind of interesting. Obviously we know that, but with like just hemalurgy, it's not necessarily it's not really its own magic system in some sense. It's using pre-existing material in a way. Whereas allomancy is granting totally new things. This isn't a great analogy, but it's all about like using other stuff and putting that material into other things, right?
My impression about that was he was saying that the version of hemalurgy that appears on Scadril has been corrupted by ruin, compared to like non-ruin hemalurgy, which we know exists.
Why do you have that impression? That is not how I read this at all. Explain.
It seemed like a follow-on from talking about metal. Well, I guess if it's a follow-on from talking about metal and polarity, then that's less of a valid reading. I thought I was thinking initially it was just like talking about the differences in magic systems. Ruin would show up and corrupt an existing magic system on Roshar, rather than coming up with something wholly new.
Yeah, I guess I'm just interpreting that as hemalurgy is stealing abilities, not granting brand new. Like, it's not a whole new set of 16 different magical abilities like allomancy and ferrochemy, right? Like, it's about stealing stuff and taking that material. So that's how I read it, at least.
Mm-hmm.
There are, I think, two aspects to this. One of which is the like the transference of spiritual attributes, powers, investiture, and the other one is the vessel that carries that, which is the metal spikes in this case. I've always thought it interesting that, and maybe some of this is like early Brandon, maybe some of this is like Mistborn is a very specific world, but it's interesting that allomancy and ferrochemy feel like their own magic systems. Fully fledged, they are magic systems based around a number of metals where you do specific things with specific metals, and hemalurgy feels like a corruption of that, because it's less its own magic system and it's more a thing that like comes in and is like, well, you do a certain thing with a metal, I can steal that thing now.
I mean, this was surprising to me, theorizing before Hero of Ages. I'm like, it can't just steal things. It's got to do other things. Allomancy and ferrochemy do all sorts of things.
But well, it does do other things. It makes hemalurgic constructs. Like, it like corrupts a spirit web.
Yeah, sure.
To new purpose.
Oh, I'm just saying I went way off the deep end on what hemalurgy means and things at that time. But yeah, absolutely.
And so that has for a while now reminded me of what we see on Roshar, where the expressions of magic that we see from Odium, and like, again, maybe this is just a bias that comes from us being introduced to quote unquote the good guys or the good uses of the magic, right? We see allomancy before we see hemalurgy. We see surge binding, honor based surge binding before we see whatever it is that Odium does. And so when we see hemalurgy and when we see Odium's magics, they feel like an evil version of allomancy a little bit and an evil version of surge binding a little bit. Whereas, I don't know, if we were introduced to these in the other sequence, maybe it wouldn't feel that way as much. But as presented, Ruin's magic and Odium's magic feel like evil versions of existing magics as opposed to their own magics.
Which That in of itself is quite interesting, thinking about Ashen, because Odium was granting powers first and then Honor did,
Odium was there
right?
first.
And so I really do want to see in eventually, like, kind of what that was like. Although I guess Town's not from Ashen, so we're not going to see that with flashbacks.
Well, but Ash,
Shalash was there.
Yeah.
briefly.
Yeah.
But like she still got powers.
Yeah. Like I want to see, of anything in flashbacks, I want to see how that sequence on Ashen works, right? Like, for sure, in my opinion. But so that's just interesting. Like, what did that look like? Because then it's not like a corrupted version, right? But
Yeah.
certainly Odium does do that sort of thing. I'd love to just see Void Spren. That'd be great. Where'd they go? I'd love to see them. What's up with Void Spren?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get lucky and they'll find where the Heralds are hiding, and we'll get to see a bunch of Void Spren torturing our heroes.
Oh, yeah.
If we get lucky.
Anyway, I don't want to talk about the numerology stuff because it's just like, okay, sure. Like, that's sure.
Mhm.
Okay, Honor. Have fun with that. Anything else on this one?
Nope.
All right. Adim.
Okay, so questioner asks, you've brought up astronomical sizes of pieces of metal before. I believe that was in reference like burning enough metal to ascend or something, if I remember correctly. Or maybe it was like
It was more like it was a storing weight.
Oh, that's right.
Thing.
Yeah. Okay, so with that in mind, if you were a shard vessel and you were really bothered by the intent, would making an astronomical amount of god metal help with that intent corruption thing? In response, I feel like it might not work. I feel like you'd still be so deeply connected to that you're not able to really siphon it off. I think it's still going to influence you on the same way. Questioner then says, so Autonomy didn't slam dunk a moon-sized piece of god metal into the Taldane sun to make it glow with investiture? Brandon says, no. Well, if she did, it wasn't in order to get rid of the intent.
That's a very
This
funny
really
response.
took a turn. I was convinced I knew exactly what the questioner was driving towards with that first question.
Well, that's because Brandon doesn't know about the Atium moon.
Yeah.
Atium moon. That's right.
To bring people up to speed who may not be aware of this, there's a long-standing theory that Sazed is going to create a moon for Scadrial, because currently Scadrial has no moon. He's going to create one out of Atium in order to try and balance the intents of the dual shard harmony. And that's I was certain maybe the questioner was playing a joke on us, because it feels like that initial question is directly pointing at that. But
yeah, no, I think that's kind of what it's about.
Well, but the follow-up doesn't ask about Atium moon. It asks about Autonomy sun.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But,
like
yeah.
this is a multi-purpose WoB, but I think the primary intent is like a vessel holding a singular shard in order to deal with the pressure from their intent, trying to shift that into god metal, and like that just doesn't make sense to me, because like you'd be using investiture, so you'd just be shrinking yourself. You're not like
We're not changing the ratio,
siphon off
like
the
the
intent.
concentration. You know?
Yeah, right.
You need to like dilute it with another intent, something else, some other intent, if you wanted to change it.
It doesn't feel like Brandon is thinking about it this way.
Yeah, because like the impression I get is that even in the ATM moon case,
That would not work.
Sazed would still be like, he may lose access to the power, because we know that that's what
Yes.
happens when Ruin has the pits creating the ATM. He doesn't have access to the power, but it's still connected enough to impart the intent.
Yeah, I guess what you'd need is a vast amount of investiture and try and, purify it, right? Or as we said in the last episode with that WoB, where it's like, oh yeah, if you use Allomancy, it's just unassigned investiture and not assigned to preservation. Like, what? We don't need to get into the whole thing. We had an extensive conversation. We also disagreed, Ian. Don't worry. That was what Brandon said.
No, Brandon.
Yeah.
No, Brandon. That's not how it works.
Yeah. So go listen to that episode if you want a discussion on that. But if it did work that way, you would need such a vast amount, and then that might make a difference or something.
Yes.
But I find it interesting that it's the connection that matters. So that kind of means that if you created a bunch of, say, sapient life, and you're putting part of your shard into like a bunch of souls, that wouldn't have this effect either, right? I don't think. Same sort of reason.
I guess it's basically saying that the imbalance that Sazed's experiencing isn't an intent imbalance.
Well,
no.
Sorry,
Which we
can
do.
we?
Like it's a power imbalance. It's like there's in this sphere of investiture he controls, there is more ruinous investiture than there is preservative investiture. So like he is more over. There's more ruin pressing on him. Like it's not an even press.
Eric, what did you mean about sapient life?
Well, now I'm just like, what am I talking about? Which, like, sorry, casters, Aona was screaming last night for like 3 hours, and so I'm much more tired than I wanted to be. But
well, that's what happens when you splinter her.
I thought you were going at the preservation, like there's extra preservation investiture in every Scatrian, and that causing a power imbalance in Sazed.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be causing an intent imbalance.
Right. Yeah.
It's still preservation investiture.
So no, I'm just confused. So if you made an Atium moon, you could balance the power theoretically, right? But that would not change the effect the intent has pulling on your soul, because you're still connected to that.
Yeah.
That seems fine. I think the extra problem with Sazed going off the lost metal Ars Arcanum and those like hemalurgy effects, Chris was saying that like ruin is being like forced to be subservient to preservation.
In the current vessel of harmony.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
that is Sazed is trying to preserve more than he's trying to ruin.
Yeah. So even if you made an Atium moon and you evened it out, Sazed's like, I don't want it to be even. I still am like making ruin subservient to that.
And wasn't there also something about because preservation double-crossed ruin with the imprisonment, that also, like, in its natural state, ruin should be...
There was, an episode or two ago when we talked about, hey, what does it actually mean for a shard to betray their oath?
Oh, the oath betraying. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
There was an implication there that, one could see what preservation did as a breaking of an oath, and that gives ruin power over.
That's an interesting idea in this context.
I do want to stay on the idea of shards expanding investiture to balance their intent, though.
Okay.
Specifically in the context of creating life.
Yeah, okay.
Because I feel like creating an Atium moon is functionally different from like giving more of your power to humans, like the preservation thing. I feel like if you do the latter, if you do the preservation route, that's no longer your investiture. That is now
like
part
compelled
of
to
the
return
human
to you, isn't it?
soul.
Like when someone dies, that preservation investiture is presumably returned to preservation, right?
It's complicated. Like it's part of the shard, but like the shard doesn't have active control of it, because like it's still preservation's investiture,
which I guess is the...
And I think like getting into the imbalance thing, like it only matters for vessels that have more than one shard. Like for like a mono shard vessel, like whatever you're doing with your power, like you're going to be affected by your intent the same amount. Like,
Yeah.
It's just when
Yeah.
there's an imbalance of two that things start happening.
Yeah.
I also further on like the Atium moon, or rather the pits of paths in Atium, is that in setting that up, like preservation essentially carved out a chunk of ruin and like removed it from its influence.
Mhm.
So like
Mhm.
in creating the Atium moon, like you could probably do it either way. You could make it and have it still be part of yourself, or you could make it and sever it off from yourself. But then there's probably a risk of Atium moon becoming sentient.
Well, I guess that's an interesting point. Evgeni, your comment about creating life versus the moon, that was the thing I was thinking about as well. And so I think, and I agree that investiture now, it is different in some sense, because now that investiture and that soul has connections to like other things that it didn't have before. It is still connected to the shard. So at least in the intent corruption aspect, I don't think that appreciably changes. But I agree. It maybe a more pure example is like Honor creating Honor spren, right? Honor does not have access to that investiture. It is definitely Honor investiture. And at least by the end of Wind and Truth, you can reclaim it if you want to just kill them all, right? It's just we made the Oath Pact, so Retribution cannot do that, right? Like, I do still think, like, obviously in the spiritual realm, like that, it's not like that investiture has become intentless, right? It still has intent. It's just now we're giving it specific life, and so that's giving it different sorts of connections, and as it grows and evolves and it has its own thoughts, that is creating different connections as well. So I agree it is different than just making a huge solid Atium moon. That is true.
The thing that I'm trying to process is I often try to go to the extreme.
Yeah.
So let's say, what does it look like if, in the same way that preservation gave some of himself to humanity, let's say, what does it look like if harmony does the same thing and gives all of his preservation to humanity? Is he
Like
still
you have a bunch of avatars?
I mean, sure, but like what happens to humanity is uninteresting to me at this point. Yeah,
Okay.
like I'm curious whether harmony remains harmony, or whether he just turns into ruin.
I think that
in the
ruin would
hypothetical
attack-
where he could give away all of preservation, he would just be ruined.
I don't know if that's possible to actually do if the powers are
Exactly,
intermingled.
I think that ruin would force a splintering, or like a split of the shard at that point. But I don't think that that's changing. Like, so I guess in that sense, it's changing your intent, but it's like doing so in a way that it would be functionally the same as just like dying and giving up the shard, I think.
And I guess, is that different from harmony creating Lerasium moon using all of his preservation?
Making a last Erasio moon of all of preservation, I'm like, it wouldn't be a moon. It would be like the size of the Cosmere itself.
It's like an investiture black hole, basically, or something like that.
There's also, I could also see
like
the
that
argument
would
that
be
like
so astronomically huge.
Yeah, and
That,
like even putting that aside, I could see the argument that like doing that would sort of like the shard in like a sense of like, I don't want to say self-preservation, but self-preservation in like the non-intent sense of just like it would like force you to not do that, or it would like once ruin started like push the ruin part started pushing it like whatever's like dregs of preservation are left, it would like pull back what had been like sent into the moon or something. Well, I guess you can't do that though.
I kind of want to make this example a little simpler because I think the ruin aspect adds like these powers are intermingling and that adds
Sure.
some additional aspects. So like
Mhm.
I'm just going to imagine like endowment. Can
Sure, let's go
endowment
to
endow
endowment.
so much that endowment is like edgely no longer holds the shard of endowment, right? Like that's kind of a simpler
I'd
version
say
of this, right?
Yes.
And is that different from a celestial object made of?
Well, a celestial object made of endowment investiture would just be endowment, I think. Like it would sort of like how the door becomes the door.
Yeah,
Right.
true. Agreed.
If you did it in such a way that it was split up so that no one piece could be like any more than like the equivalent of a spren or something, then
Which has
and yeah,
always
like-
gone well in the history
So-
of the Cosmere.
So you think that manifesting the entirety of a shard's investiture as a god metal is equivalent to giving up the shard, is equivalent to the shard using all of their investiture to like enhance humans or whatever?
no. So I think if you made a god metal out of all of your power, that's equivalent to saying the new vessel of endowment is this piece of metal. I think if you endow a bunch
Okay.
of like enough people that there's no like piece, no single piece that can become like a shard, then I think you've like distributed it enough. But I still feel like, you know, once those humans die or whatever, the power would be returning to something that would eventually coalesce back into that shard.
So you're still possibly the shard's vessel, is just that
I think the vessel would probably die at that
you
point
have
or
you have
something.
0 mana.
Yeah, I think you're dead.
The vessel would descend.
I think that as long as the intent is there, the power is going to eventually try and coalesce.
Yeah, I would agree. And it would be like a shard that is vesselless and is then going around. A mind is not controlling it, so it will become sapient, right? Like that's what I think would happen. For me, I'm not sure if a shard necessarily can even give up that much power. Like even endowment
Yeah,
alone.
I don't think so.
Like
That's sort of what I was trying to get with the
Sure, a lot of this is a thought exercise.
So-
Because like I was trying to tackle the original problem we were talking about, which is the imbalance within harmony, and that imbalance is caused by preservation's original like extra investment into humanity, and then we're talking about the Atium moon as an idea to counterbalance that. And so I wanted to see, well, okay, what if we push either one of these shard kind of balancing acts to the extreme?
And like, I just don't think, because like the scale of the imbalance is minuscule on the shardic level. It's just that adds up. Like, like any imbalance like matters. It's probably far less than a percentage point. So it's just like the scale of like doing like an Atium moon to like fix the imbalance versus like transmuting an entire shard into physical matter, like is astronomically different.
Yeah.
Just not practical.
That it's not, you're comparing apples and oranges. Like these are no longer in the same frame of reference. Like they don't help for one another, in my opinion.
I think on the harmony aspect specifically, I think that you could balance out the power with like some selective enhancements of humans or creating of god metal or something. I think the issue is more like Sazed is not someone who can equally, at least as he is currently, is not able to maintain harmony. Like I don't think that harmony works as an intent that is equal, like ruin and preservation when Sazed's in charge. He is like trying to be more preservation-y.
Yeah.
And so you could balance out the power, but the intent is the problem for Sazed.
And that's a really important reframing, because I think I've always thought of it as that imbalance. But yeah, thinking about the Lost Metal Ars Arcanum, it's like, no, that's not really the problem. truly.
I do like that framing of even if he were to balance, because like theoretically maybe he can just do the preservation thing and like dump a bunch of ruinous investitures in people's souls.
Sure.
One, he probably doesn't want to do that.
That would probably have consequences for sure.
Not even consequence, just like the idea of him dumping a ruin into people is probably not something that he as a person wants to do.
Yeah, sure.
But also, like, even if he were able to do that, he would still, as a person, want to lean more towards preservation, and that would inherently cause, like, even if the powers themselves are balanced, he himself is not.
Yeah. Like, I guess in this extreme, what if he dumped 50% of ruin into a thing? Well, Sazed still wants to subsume that other 50% of ruin. Like, he doesn't want to even be ruin 1/3 of the time, right? Like he's still trying to subsume that, and that's probably going to lead to problems, even if it was that extreme, and he wouldn't do that anyway. So with them being so balanced or nearly balanced, I'm sure that effect is extreme on him.
And yeah, like I imagine it's like he picked, it wasn't really his fault, but he picked like the 2 worst shards to make a die shard out of.
I mean, I'll be honest, I never really thought in Hero of Ages the Sazed destroying aspect made as much sense with his character. Like, I feel like there needed to be a little bit more foundation for me to like buy that. It's like, oh yeah, I'm holding these equally. That's all checks out. I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
If only Brandon were rewriting Era 1, some sort of adaptation screenplay.
Well,
and there was an upcoming WoB about that we could segue into.
Well, that is true. But I will say, I do think the next trilogies, the modern era and space era, they're going to deal with more of the high level stuff than Era 2. And this discussion makes me really excited about that, to see.
Yeah.
Obviously, Harmony stuff is going to be an aspect, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Like interrogating Sazed's legitimacy as Harmony.
Yeah. And like, there's no question it is going to happen that way, because that's what that Kelsier Sazed epilogue in Lost Metal's doing, right? Like, that is for sure where we're going with this. So, thanks for that segue that I interrupted. Let's talk about this question about movies. And questioner said, as you're doing the screenplay, which Brandon finished the rough draft, let's be clear. Brandon said there'll be more drafts. As you're doing your screenplay and transition to a new medium, how do you balance the magic structure that you've built and the integrity of that with a new way of showing it? Brandon, where I'm going with this on Mistborn is that I'm trying to keep the magic system, integrity of it, in continuity, but not on screen. For instance, where I am right now is I'm probably not going to mention Copper Clouds or Seeking in the first film, just to keep the number of powers down. But that means that Clubs is probably not going to be a main character. But you'll still probably see him. Does that make sense? Which means still in continuity, things like this. But the film the crew is a bit too big, so he's hanging around, but he's not having any lines. We're not going to talk about him. That's my goal right now, is to find a way that when you watch the film, it's in continuity with the books, but not 100% continuity. Like, he's not in meetings that he was in the books, but he's there. So the films will be a slightly new continuity, but my goal is everything you read in the books, you can assume happened in one way or another. He wasn't in the meeting, but he got brought up to speed because he was somewhere else. Things like that. And then the questioner follows up. So no major changes to the magic system? Brandon, no major changes to the magic system. If I'm doing things, it's to do things like that. Simplify characters. This is very interesting and different from what he said before.
Yeah.
It is. He also talked about this or something very similar to this during the 20th anniversary Mistborn live stream that happened earlier in summer. And he reinforced the idea of book continuity and movie continuity are like, movies are meant to be God, he phrased it nicely, and I don't remember the exact phrasing of it. The takeaway that I recall is that everything that happens in the books still happens. It may just not be on screen.
Sure.
Yeah, like I think that's a good, fine, good philosophy to take when adapting something. It's just like the specifics of like, we're not going to have Seeking or Copper Clouds in the first book.
Yeah, like those are important.
Yeah, I feel like Copper Clouds are the most, like, Copper Clouds don't get any more significant than how their relevance in the first book.
I mean, just think about
Seeking. I can see being like, yeah, Seeking's more important in the second book because you have to seek the well. Setting it up of like they're seeking like I feel like it doesn't take that long to establish that at least it's a thing, in the first book.
Yeah, and it's like Vin being able to pierce Copper Clouds like is a huge plot point.
Yeah,
like that's significant.
True.
Is it significant in the first book? I forget. Is it used at all in the? Is it like she needs to find someone, or
I mean, it's how she finds Sean just before they fight.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like don't think.
Oh, like that's how the Lord Ruler knew you and Mare were breaking into the palace. Like he and like the Inquisitors can pierce Copper Clouds. Like she didn't betray you. It's her allomancy, even though it was smoked, was still detected.
I don't think that's that important.
I think that stuff can be like that doesn't need that's like not required for the adaptation. But I think that it is I think it's still required because setting up the fact that like the mystery of why she can pierce Copper Clouds, I think it should be established in the first, like set up at least so that the significance of it in the second book is relevant to the first time viewers. And also like who would be teaching her this stuff if it's not brought up, because Marsh gets turned into a prisoner. And
Marsh is also what I was thinking here of like, well, it's, and, maybe you don't do that entire plot line, but I feel like Marsh is kind of important. And so if you are not turning him into an Inquisitor, I mean, like you have to turn him into an Inquisitor. So if you are turning him into an Inquisitor, why are you turning, like he's got to have a power. Why are you not talking about his power? And like, maybe you can handle that in like flashbacks or explanations in future movies. So like movie 1 can be very much steel and iron. Movie 2 can dig more into bronze and copper.
Also worth pointing out, this is from April before he finished. I don't know how far he had gotten into the script. He could have changed his mind. And
definitely.
But it wasn't Argent, weren't you saying he was saying similar things on that stream?
He wasn't saying specific stuff about metals. Just
not about copper and bronze specifically, just the canon idea.
Okay. Yeah. I will trust Brandon, who is, writing the screenplay, to know what needs to be simplified or not. And I think I'm okay with this. It will be interesting to see kind of the downstream effects for sure. But there won't be downstream effects if the movie isn't good, and there won't be sequels, right? That's just a fact, right? And I'm thinking of Inception, where you're like, I'm describing this person and what they do, and I don't know, you kind of need to keep that number kind of low. Like there's kind of a lot of things, and so that's. I mean, admittedly, like X-Men movies, they introduce a bunch of people, and it's like, okay, I have this power, right? Like.
X-Men is also very visual, though. Which
it is
really
very visual, for sure. I'm totally fine with this kind of simplification. I think that makes a lot of sense. I will trust that people who know movies and know how to create movies more than I do, and Brandon's gonna deliver the script to people who very much know how movies work, and he will get lots of revisions and things. All that's true. I will trust them to know how much simplification is required. And I am okay with a streamlined story, because A book is just different. It's going to have time to explore these subplots, and like you just can't have as many subplots.
Yeah,
right. Like
I
that's
mean,
just a fact.
a
Club,
movie.
Tam, Dachshund, I feel like all those characters can be sidelined, honestly.
I'll be real. I'm surprised I'm not seeing Breeze being cut from
Breeze
like
also.
early stuff, because I don't think he matters for book one.
I think Breeze and Hammer though are fun crew members that you want on your thieving crew movie.
But they're not functional.
Well,
I mean, Ham is important because the rebellion.
I think yes, I feel like you would need in heist movie style to give Breeze a moment later on, right? You know, it's like, Breeze did the thing.
It's like you could like introduce Ham like in the first scene, and then he's sent off for pretty much the entire movie to be with the rebellion. And we don't
but you can do the same thing with clubs. You can have a scene where it's like, hey, this guy protects us from like people magically sensing us, and then he just hangs out in the background.
Yeah, I'm not super worried about that personally. I will say a subplot, though Marsh is important, Steel Ministry politicking, I don't know how important that is in the movie. I'll be totally honest. Like, it's fun, but it's like a whole super background thing. I don't know what we do with Marsh and the Inquisitors, because the Inquisitors are interesting for sure, and so you do need to explore those. But
that's the only thing that I'm concerned with here. Like, I don't care about any of the Steel Ministry politicking.
Yeah,
I think
here.
you need to get the Inquisitors out of the picture somehow.
Yeah, for sure. And like the Inquisitors are such an iconic antagonist. Ian,
this one is from Wild Hogs 2011.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering, there are 3 primordial gods on Roshar. Brandon. Yes. And we know that one of them protects, one of them nurtures, and one of them shrouds. We assume that the wind is the one that protects from the books. However, because cultivation is seemingly linked to the night, would that mean the night is the one that nurtures? To which Brandon answers, yeah, you can make that extrapolation. You can do that. Okay, I am there with you, but there's a little more to it. It's just interesting phrasing, because like you can make that extrapolation, but is it correct? Brennan doesn't say whether it's correct or not.
Because I would definitely say night feels shroudy.
Shroud of Night, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
And I would almost say that stone nurtures, because stone is the ground, it's the earth of Roshar. It's the soil. It's not the soil, but it's the soil.
Man, like creme or something. Yeah.
It's the stratum.
Shadows of divinity with instructions to protect, to shroud, to nurture. Okay. That's in.
You could also interpret that as this is the collective task of these 3 gods.
Yeah. So they all do some of each of those.
Yeah. And while they have like, honor feels kinship to the wind, that does and cultivation feels kinship to the night. That doesn't mean that they line up quite as cleanly.
Well, that is true, but then the next line does just say, one saying to me in particular, and that invigorated me. Though I did not know why the wind was chosen to protect, which definitely does in the context of that paragraph makes it feel like there are shadows of divinity, and each one has been chosen for one of these 3 things that we've listed. So
okay. Well, that's fair.
This just gets into the I wish these 3 primordial gods had been explored more
relevant
evenly through the first 5.
Yeah,
books.
well, yeah. That'd be nice. Wonder if it was like a back half thing that he moved forward. I don't know. Like maybe he was planning to do it more in the back half. I don't know. Evgeni, let's talk
another question
about Future Sight.
Yep. And we are, speaking of Future Sight, our past site says we're now in London. We're talking about MCM.
Yeah. I probably should have said at some point that the previous WoBs before that last one were JordanCon, and now we're at MCM London Comic Con, which is in May. Wow.
So the question that I need to read says, if an Allomancer is burning Atium or Electrum, would they have trouble reading the future of anyone with an Enlightened spren? Brent says, how much would that interfere? I could imagine that they would interfere a little bit, but not a ton. I think that you could still probably do it. It is going to mess with things a little bit, but it really depends on the spren and the person. I'm going to give you like a 10% interference would be my guess.
I guess that makes sense because we don't really see any Enlightened spren providing this sort of near-term exact future sight
Yeah.
Yeah,
that Atium and Electrum do.
I agree. I think what we see is the big, Odium is trying to see where things are going in the end, which gets difficult. If you're I'm sure Odium could read Renarin's actions in the next 3 seconds if he needed.
Yeah, right, exactly. That is not very hard. I 100% agree. I think if you do something like Ellen's Duralamin Atium thing, and he was trying to see someone who had an Enlightened spren, that would be interfered more because you are looking further into the future. So that all checks out to me. But
and like part of this is also like we know that Renarin and Liss interfere. Would Enlightened spren of other orders also interfere in the same way? Because like Enlightened Truth Watchers like do have a degree, like have future sight themselves. That's what's causing the problem. Whereas like a different order that doesn't have future sight but is still enlightened, would they?
I think they
wouldn't necessarily interfere in the same way.
Yeah, I think you have to have some access to future sight in order for there to be that interference.
You might get a little bit just because Enlightened spren seem to be more at home in the spiritual realm. That just seems but that's probably a marginal thing.
I mean, I don't know. Spren are always grabbing random factoids of exposition from the spiritual realm.
That's true, but like there's
more so.
Like in Wind and Truth, they are specifically were called out as being better.
True.
Than like Pattern, for example.
Okay. Next one. So, questioner asks, were the Honorblades originally designed to be able to pull investiture, like Stormlight, straight from the spiritual realm? And were they broken when the Heralds abandoned the blades in the Oath Pact? And is Talon's not broken because he didn't abandon his blade? Brandon says, I'm going to raffo you, but there's something odd about the Honorblades, isn't there? There's some odd stuff going on there. So yeah, raffo. Excellent question.
For 15 years, we hear about how weird the Honorblades are. And it's still unclear.
I mean, I think in this case, we're getting books of Herald things. And so Brandon's like, there's literally no reason. Like, we're gonna talk about it. Don't worry. Right. In that sense, we have seen the Honorblades kind of a lot, but this feels like a thing he might be saving for like, Town has his honor blade and is being badass type thing, right? With not just him being so buff and awesome, but he's using all his magical abilities, right?
Or just like someone expositing to Kaladin about what being a herald is like, because Kaladin has a working honor blade as well now.
Yeah, that's a great point actually. So I guess we would just see how that works with Kaladin in his POV, presumably eventually.
Which is fun. Worth remembering is not Syl.
Which is not Syl. He's separate.
I guess technically Syl also has an honor blade, potentially. You could argue.
In a way, yeah.
I don't see why this wouldn't be at minimum what Odium is shown to be able to do with the Fused, where they can ask for Void Light and he gives it to them. I feel like I don't see why the Heralds wouldn't have been able to do the same. Now that it's Retribution, that probably won't be as easy, but if we're talking about originally designed,
it's not clear that honor would necessarily even need to consent. Like I could see a world where Honor designed these Honor Blades to just automatically draw this way, and then Retribution is irrelevant to this, right? Which probably, maybe that does need to be the case, but I wonder if there's a way.
No, there was the portion of Honor that split off.
I thought that was singularly Kaladin's spear, Honor spear.
Oh, was it?
I don't think anyone has like a confident answer on what that is. But that's the first time I hear about the spear.
I'm going to be very confident and say that I'm pretty sure that that's talking about where the investiture came from that was able to make Kaladin's spear.
Yeah. It's possible there's more crap going on as well, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a conspicuous hanging thread that Brandon can do whatever he wants with.
I wonder if there's a way to restore the other heralds to have their blades work this way. If, like, presumably towns would just work fine.
Well, we don't know that they don't.
I guess that's true.
Ishar does do.
He does a lot of things, doesn't he? Yeah, that's a good point.
And
that's true.
Nail also, like, that's one of the things that I flagged years ago, all the way back in Edge Dancer. Nail never like breathes in stormlight. He just starts glowing.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe that just always works.
The blades may not even be broken. They're just required.
I could absolutely accept that they're less efficient for the 9 than they are for, or I guess 8 than they are for tone.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like, Ishar does crazy things. I mean, part of that was Well of Control, I think, at least with like connecting with Shinovar, but like he's even doing crazy things in Rhythm of War and things. So
yeah, I do like the idea that it's not necessarily a function of the Honor Blades. It was a function of the heralds.
Yeah.
They do swear an oath when they accept the blades, and they haven't been holding up that oath very well.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, just thinking mechanically about back half, I'm pretty sure you just need the heralds to work like this, or they just need to just be awesome and grab this from the spiritual realm, because there's not going to be Stormlight to grab, right? There's not going to be. You're not going to get Retribution's consent, right? Okay, so this next question. When a different person picks up the shards, it was established that the rhythm of said shard changes. Does this imply that everybody has their own specific rhythm? And if so, is it necessary for something like making a cognitive shadow, soul stamps, or for instance, making a copy of something? Brandon. So yes, your blanket answer is yes. Everyone will have their own song, their own rhythm, their own tone. But with an individual, it's very quiet compared to that of a shard or a planet or things like that. But yes, they do exist, and that is very deeply related to both soul casting and forging. Excellent question.
Not shocking, but I like this as a framing and as straight up a confirmation that this is, a thing. And when you are dealing with shards and vessels, it's the what you get is like a combined song, effectively, where the far dominant portion is the shard. And so if you know what you're looking for, you can always tell, yep, this is, across 10 people, it is the same. Across 10 vessels, it's still the same shard. I can recognize that. And then if you really know what you're looking for, as was the case with the Stormfather and Caravangian and Rays in Wind and Truth, you can go, yeah, it's the same song, but it's like there's a tiny, tiny, tiny variation that indicates that it's someone else in the mix of the shard.
You just have to run a Fourier transform on the
which the Stormfather famously did.
We all know, famously.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a little like two singers can sing the same song, and it's clearly the same song, but there's slight differences that you can tell they're two different people.
Or two orchestras, and like one person in the orchestra is different. You know, we can plenty of metaphors we can come up with,
like this does bring to mind the WoB like god metals changing technically when vessels change, which is the way Brennan phrases it. I don't like, but it's a thing.
It would be a slight change, I think, without a vessel specifically doing things, I think. Cool.
And then that's deeply related to soulcasting and forging.
So like if you wanted to like what Shai was doing, you need to like find the right rhythm for the person or rhythm for the object that you're trying to soulcast if you want to get an exact copy. I assume is what that's talking about.
Like I think this gets into like everyone will have their own song, their own rhythm, their own tone. Like gets into like, that's their identity. Like that's the thing that defines them. And like expresses. So it's like, yes, soul casting and forging like tie into identity. So it would tie into these things, not necessarily directly, but abstractly, tangentially. This all relates.
Sure.
Yeah. I like saying that, you're just describing identity. More scientific terms is like the rhythm of their soul or something.
Yeah, Ian, do this next one.
Yeah, this next questioner is asking a question about my favorite secret project.
Frugal Wizard?
No, I like Frugal Wizard more than I like Yumi. So in Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, with virtuosity, it's inferred that it splintered itself. Asterisk on that. And we're left with cyan and magenta, inferring that yellow is the one that's missing. Is that any relation to the Iriali and their travel across the Cosmere to get back to the one? This is, of course, drawing on the whole theory of like Iriali like are associated with gold and yellow. Are they the missing piece?
Right.
And color theory, printing cyan, magenta, yellow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. To which Brendan says, "Oh, that's coincidental, isn't it? Interesting. Very interesting. I will give you a slight yes. I won't completely raffo you on that. Do understand that people have been theorizing a lot on the splintering of virtuosity and why virtuosity might have splintered themselves and things like that. I will dig into that as we go, but you are noticing an interesting thread that I put there intentionally. How about that?" So, that asterisk.
Yes.
People, this happens all the time in conversations that like virtuosity is splintered. That is never stated. Virtuosity has splintered, not the same thing. You can make splinters and not be splintered.
Endowment.
Important qualification.
Yeah, endowment. Yeah.
Honor.
Yeah. It's just endowment's a great quintessential. Yeah. So just the line, but this was close to where virtuosity splintered herself. And I suspect that had an effect, but talking about a variety of things. So it definitely doesn't need to be like a complete splintering. Like I would say that line implies it's not just making a spren. Like it seems pretty like a dramatic thing, right? That had
Is that
effects.
a line from Yumi?
Yeah, that's the line from Yumi. Yep. Like the full paragraph, it smothered the city like a dome, driven back by the hion, which could also be used to make passages and corridors. Only the light of the star shone through the shroud. To this day, I'm not 100% certain why, but this was close to where virtuosity splintered herself, and I suspect that had an effect.
Brandon has... Brandon is the one that drew attention to, that doesn't mean that she is completely in pieces.
Yeah.
I remembered that wrong.
Yeah,
it's
also read it once.
Been a while since I read it.
I think the whatever this virtuosity splintering is, this has had or could have some interesting effects, right? I don't know how it could possibly be related to the Iriali, because I feel like the Iriali gold stuff was way long ago, right?
Well, but we
Yeah.
don't know,
I don't know.
when the splintering was, right?
Sure.
I mean, I see the vision, right? I see the vision. It's the idea of, the Iriali believe they are part of a one. The one is not actually Adonalsium, it is virtuosity. Virtuosity turns herself into the Iriali. They experience the universe, and at the end, their belief is that they come back together and they like reform the shard.
And
Effectively.
they form the best printer. We have all the colors.
Yes.
We collect
Yes.
all 16 of the shards colors, and we print a dragon. Clearly.
And we can finally print correctly. Yeah.
Easy.
Nice. So I see the vision. I've just never liked the connection of, first of all, I've always disliked the premise that yellow is missing just because we see cyan and magenta, right? And everything else about this theory hinges on the idea that yellow is missing. And where's the missing yellow?
And also the fact that it hinges on the fact that they're yellow when they're not really yellow, they're gold.
They're gold, yeah.
What's a little what's the word with more metallic shade? But what's a little bit of that getting in the way between yellow and gold? Come on, it's fine.
Color is important to the Cosmere. Metal is important to the Cosmere. They're connected. That said, Brandon keeps not disputing the virtuosity Iriali connection. Like, people keep asking and he keeps not saying no. So maybe there's something to it.
Just to be clear, from the 2023 December spoiler stream, Brandon saying there could be a third theoretical color that would be relevant in this conversation, and it would be yellow. If there were a third hion line, it would be yellow. And there's not a third hion line currently. I wonder why. It's like that definitely seems like there is a thread there, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to interpret that as not that there is something.
I mean, but I can also interpret that as him being like, yes, you've correctly identified that color theory says that yellow should complete this pattern. The pattern is not complete. Have I perhaps chosen not to follow color theory? I don't know. So, I don't know. I don't have any useful thoughts on this other than this keeps being a thing.
And it continues to do so.
Yeah. I think I'm still partial to the dragon thing. So saying that they're
I feel like it's not going to be dragons, and I'm going to be sad forever.
It's not, there's not cyan, magenta, yellow dragons. Admittedly, that would be fun.
I mean, I feel like if there's a verdant dragon, a bone dragon, I think that there should be a gold dragon as well.
I think there is a category of dragons that are called verdant dragons. I just don't believe that is a category.
I
I think
it's a lowercase v, not an uppercase v.
It's just, you only need one gold dragon to make you Iriali. That's what I would ask.
Okay. It's true. Look, that is plausible that there's metallic stuff because of dragon ancestry. That I buy.
You know who's definitely a gold dragon? The great dragon god herself.
Oh, yeah. No, we don't know that.
Okay. But that's possible. That's
Valor
possible.
has to be gold. When they release her Shard of Creation card, I will be vindicated.
Yeah, but gold's so odium-y is the problem.
Yeah, but Valor, Sun Gods,
for sure. There's probably a way. Yeah,
there's a theme there.
I understand the vision, for sure. I'm glad I don't have to come up with the color palettes for all 16 of these. Is all I'm saying. That's a problem.
They were already struggling coming up with a color for every Radiant Order.
That's what I'm freaking saying here. Have fun with the next 8 in Shards of Creation. Cool. Evgeni.
Oh God, the time one. Okay,
Perfect.
we're gonna speedrun this one.
Okay.
In Wind and Truth, the wind refers to time as if they might be an entity because it's capitalized. But the word time is the first word in the sentence, hence the capitalization. So it's
Very
not clear.
helpful.
It's not clear if it's a proper noun or not. I assume it's a raffle. 2 parts to this. A, is or was time ever an entity of any sort? And B, if so, were they involved in the creation of the unmade? Ren says, excellent question. And I'm not going to fully raffle, unwinding, rewinding time. Like that's the line. Excellent questions. I'm not going to fully rifle you. In the Cosmere, anything that people personify will, over time, likely find the investiture for that personification. That, in my opinion, is the most interesting part of the swap, by the way.
Mhm.
That said, anything that deity personifies, it goes very much faster. That's the second most interesting part. When I originally, way back then, you can ask Ben McSweeney, when I first commissioned him to do concept art for The Way of Kings in 2009, I actually had him drawing Syl as a personification of one of the 4 winds from the 4 corners. It wasn't until a few months that I'm like, no, I need to lean into spoiler of what she is. Oh, honor spren and things like that. And I had him change some of the concept art. But in particularly Roshar, there's the idea of forces of nature having personifications baked into the very beginning of the storytelling, not just spren, but larger entities as well. We will delve more and more into that as the story progresses, but that's my sideways raffle for you.
I found the quote from Wind and Truth. I got it.
Okay, hit us.
So basically, we're in this where Kaladin is like getting impressions of Nail here, showing him
yeah.
very heroic. And so the wind then says, like, showing him a hero who had stood for millennium, time and time again, but now, and then this is the wind talking. Weathered, the wind said, time and I are cousins. Both of us wear away the things we caress. Please, Kaladin, he is worth saving. Do not let him die like this. So I think this is, given that quote, very understandable question to ask Brandon, for sure.
Yep.
When the wind itself is personifying a thing, you should maybe take that a little seriously, I think, right?
Yeah. And when we're talking about the wind, there's a tendency in this series to, when the wind is comes up, the things that may seem poetic at first end up being revealed later that actually, no, that wasn't poetic at all. It was being very literal.
Yes. Be careful with the stone and night. That could count too.
That reminds me of a Hoyt quote from earlier books where he says that wisdom and I were at cross purposes.
Yes.
Which was the foundation for a shard of wisdom or shard of prudence.
Yes.
Which ended up not exactly panning out. So
yeah, because that's the reason.
Grain of salt.
At least the line of the WoBs that we learned, and we eventually got reason the shard, right?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the thing that is interesting to me is kind of the mechanical of anything that people personify will over time find the investiture for that personification. And then if you are if you're a god, if you're a highly invested being like the wind or a shard, you are fast tracking that. Your idea finds the investiture to become an entity.
And I'd like to just echo that second part with some headcanon of that being why Nohadon and the Blackthorn are like special things in the spiritual realm, because they're both things that a shard are people that a shard have thought about, and so they get like sort of specialified in the spiritual realm. They become spren in the spiritual realm. That's my headcanon for why they're notable. Yeah. Nohadon shows up in the spiritual realm visions that Dalinar periodically has, and seems to have some special wisdom for Dalinar. that
Oh, so your headcanon is that he shows up there because of some. We don't know what Shard thought about it. What
probably
kind of
Honor.
had a crush on him.
Mhm.
Okay,
That's probably true.
But yeah, that all makes sense. All the stuff that Brandon said about the personifications and how shards and potentially other gods can have a fast track for those creating those personifications. That being said, I don't know if time's going to end up being another old god or something.
Well, it's the fourth one that fell.
Ooh, that's actually stunningly plausible.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I was about to say, it wouldn't be on Roshar, but
We have fourth moon. The rules are changed.
because
that's a multiple of 4.
Way of Kings Prime, one of the elements or that version of the 10 essences
That's true.
chart had time on it.
Yep.
And I think progression is now like that,
Yeah.
like the successor to that, essentially. I mean, I will say, if you want old godsy personifications of natural forces, time is a great one to choose. Like wind, night, time. Stone a little less.
I mean,
so I'll be
I would
honest,
say
but,
better than Wind, Night, and Time.
but
So could it be that night and time, or night and time were sort of cultivation aspected, and then maybe wind and stone were honor aspected? Because wind, I don't know why wind is honor, honestly, but stone solidity and unchangingness.
I wouldn't, because honor mentions having a connection to wind and says nothing about stone.
true. And doesn't mention time. To be clear.
Yeah.
Though that quote that I did say about shadows of divinity, he said, shadows listed 3 things. That doesn't mean that there are 3 entities. It just means there were 3 tasks given to them.
3 employed entities.
Yeah, yes.
Time was just wasting time.
Look,
Yeah,
that
time's
broken
beautiful
moon, that could be way before all this. I don't know. Okay.
But yeah, the main reason I want to talk about this WoB is because I really like the framing of things don't just come into existence in the Cosmere. Ideas latch onto available investiture. And Brandon has talked about something similar in a WoB from a little while ago.
Mhm.
Recent, but a little while ago. Where I also very much liked the idea that, well, you cannot have an infinite number of types of spren. There needs to be investiture available for the ideas to be born, to be investiture to give them life.
Yep. All right, Adam, why don't you do this very last WoB? Wow. And you know what?
Okay.
We did get through this shorter on the raw recording. Even with news and with us babbling about earlier stuff. Wow, these last WoBs were faster. It's crazy.
It's the final WoB. There are no more WoBs.
Yep, WoBs are dead.
But I'll see what I can do.
Okay.
I was thinking long live the WoBs, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so a questioner says, we know that the Heralds, they have their own mental issues, and these are kind of the opposite of what they were herald of. Brandon says, not always, but yeah. Questioner says, my question is, Liss, the assassin that Yasna talks to in the prologue of Words of Radiance, is she a herald? And maybe she's the herald of healing since she's an assassin? Brandon says, Raffo, I'm going to give you a Raffo. I think you're going in the wrong direction on her, but you should keep theorizing about her. You got to veer to a different path. I'm personally disappointed by this because I haven't liked the Liss being, now I'm forgetting her name. Is it Paul? No,
Vedel is the healer.
Vedel, yeah. I've liked the idea of Liss being Vedel, the patron of the edge dancers, because the description in the book is pretty close to what we get for the portrait of her in, I forget which book has her as an end paper, but one of the books shows a in-world portrait of Vedel, and she looks a lot like how Liss is described. And it would just be a fun tie-in to a weird character who shows up in one chapter and never is seen again.
Haha, good sir. Liss shows up in Stonewalkers. I'll have you know.
Yes, she does.
I should probably read the actual adventure to see if I, missed factoids about it, but yeah.
The Stonewalkers does not imply that she's a herald.
That was certainly my impression. It was interesting to see Liss there. I don't know what different path I'm supposed to veer down, I'll be honest. It's a little unclear to me.
I mean, I think this is Brandon letting the questioner down kind of easy.
Mm-hmm.
She's a very interesting
But
character.
he doesn't, he gives the questioner a Raffo and not an explicit no, which is also notable. Potentially.
It's potentially notable. I think he is being just, I'm not gonna hard no you.
How Raffo is it if Brandon says, I think you're going the wrong direction?
Yeah.
We didn't find out how wrong you are.
I think what this could mean is there could be something interesting going on with Liss, and Brandon is kind of Raffoing that to not talk about that. But
Yes.
He's going to
it's
show
not
up in
this
the back half and be like, hey, Yasmin, I want to thank you again for keeping such meticulous notes about our meeting that
that'll be top of the list.
Not like they were stolen by God or anything. And
meeting though. I mean, they weren't stolen, right? He saw into the spiritual realm and then he read them there. The other option here is just based purely on interpretation of the words that Brandon says. He could be saying, no, she's not Vedel, but she could be another herald.
Okay, fair.
Wrong direction is she's Vedel.
Sure.
None of the other heralds are available to be listed.
Are available, yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's definitely not Shauna.
Yep.
She's definitely not Polly. She's definitely not Batar.
Definitely not Ash.
It would be very weird
Ash.
with the story of Stonewalkers for another herald to randomly be there and not involved in what else is going on in there, I will say. That would be weird. With no comments either, I think, if I remember, about the core stuff. So, like, I don't think she's a herald. Unfortunately, I always liked the idea that Liss was a herald, because Liss was always one of those characters like, this is so weird and interesting. Yeah. Who are you?
Yeah. That's one of those popular kind of early Stormlight theories that felt good.
Yeah.
And just kind of didn't go anywhere, unfortunately.
Yeah. You could say it had more backing than Shauna Devar.
It did, actually.
Yeah.
Wow. Look, if you have red hair, you're related. That's how it works.
That's the rule.
That's the rule.
The spiritual integrity of red hair is family.
Speaking of Shauna Devar, was there?
Okay.
Am I misremembering what the WoB was about? There being like seeing every herald in the first two books, or
I think we've.
Because I feel like that was used as evidence for Shauna because she was the only red-haired woman we've seen.
Yeah.
But in that case, like, it's also evident because I think that's also been used as evidence for Liss being Vedel.
Yes.
But I don't know.
I don't remember that WoB.
I don't remember if it was a Brandon one or a Peter. I think it's a Peter.
I think it's Peter,
That's like recalling something that Brandon has said at some point. So like and I don't have that at hand. And I think Peter has gone back and like clarified what he means. So that one is very much like third-hand knowledge.
Well, you know what worked great for Chad? Nailed it.
Yeah. Less great for Liss.
Less great for Liss. Well, wow, guys. We're going to actually need to figure out
an actual episode.
An actual episode. I have a few ideas. Well, actually, the next episode I don't need to figure out because I think our next episode will be Blightfall reactions. And so I think my plan is we are going to not have an episode on the 30th, and we are just going to have Blightfall reactions the weekend after. But yeah, so there is going to be a new book, and I'm actually pretty excited for you guys to for all you to read Blightfall, because Blightfall is good. I'll say. I think I can say that. I'm excited. Yeah. So I think the Skyward stuff we're bringing it back. It'll be fun.
It's been a minute.
I'm sure we'll do an interview with Jancy as well. Yeah, it is true. Thinking about that, Defiant came out in 2023. And it's like, it feels like it wasn't that long ago, but that's actually quite some time ago, in fact.
Yeah.
So it's been a bit of a break, especially, you know.
My brain really wants to say that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I know. Same. Exactly. I mean, granted, it's not going to be exactly 3 years. It's slightly under 3 years, but it rounds up to 3 years.
Months.
The dates on the year it's 3 off here. So that's the part I don't like about it. So it's definitely been a while since we've had some new Skyward content, and so I'm excited to see more of that and see where Jancy goes with that. But after those, then we need to figure out episodes, Cosmere episodes to do. Okay, well, let's head on over to Who's That Cosmere Character?
This character is from Roshar.
Menace, Tien,
Tom,
Raise.
Void in drag on a horse.
It's time for Who's That Cosmere Character? Caw. All right. Welcome to Who's That Cosmere Character, the game show where you send 5 clues in a character to wtcc at 17shard.com. I read each clue aloud, and after each clue, these guys have a chance to guess who's that Cosmere character. And this first one is sent by Daniel. And clue 1, this character is not from Roshar.
Axendweth.
It is not Axendweth, but we love Axendweth here on the show. What a great name.
I feel like she's kind of problematic. I don't know if we love her.
Maybe I just
can have a
love
problematic
Axendweth's name.
Yeah, I wonder what the rhyme or reason is for coming up with terrace names.
I don't know. Feels terrace to me, man.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a good intuitive grasp on a lot of terrace names. So I'm gonna guess I-we.
Yeah, nice. It's not, though.
Is it Vasher?
It's not Vasher. All right. Clue 2. This character has access to large amounts of investiture.
The Cinder King.
No, it's not the Cinder King. I like that, though. Not from Roshar, for sure.
I'm gonna copy Ian's homework and go with Sigzo. No, he's from Roshar. I'm not going with Sigzo.
Oh.
No,
Right,
that was your guess. That was your guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess I have to go with Hoyd.
It's not Hoyd. Clue 3. There is an important thing in the Cosmere named after this character.
And we guessed Vasher.
Yes.
Ulida.
It's not Ulida. What's named after Ulida specifically?
Well, like
The
after
Grand Nell.
Yeah.
I'm glad you picked her because that's where my brain was going.
Yeah, the grand disturbance, the death of a god, the death knell of ambition.
Okay. All right.
Is it Alonoe?
No, it's not, but I love that guess. That's a great guess. I'm just saying Ulada's not in the name of that. How can it be named after the character if the thing is not?
Well, it's named after ambition, and ambition is Ulida, or most recently was.
Well, it's not her, so it doesn't matter.
What was the phrasing for the third question? Is it a thing or a place? Or
There is an important thing in the Cosmere named after this character. I will say thing, I think, could be a broad noun sense.
Okay.
In this sense.
In that case, Sased.
It is not Sased. All right, we're Daniel, I'm trusting you here. All right, clue 4. This character appears 4 times in Elantris.
bit of a debuff to me. I
That's true.
don't take it
Look,
personally.
Grace sent me these. I didn't choose
Playing
these.
with a handicap.
Um,
This suddenly became very difficult.
Yes.
It did.
It's probably like
This can-
some random ass word that
Mhm.
just happens to show up 4 times. And the thing is named after that character. It doesn't
Yes.
just like share so like the character cannot be red because the red drip exists, because the red drip is not named after red.
I'm not gonna answer that one.
That makes it sound like there's shenanigans happening.
I'm.
is there
That
so
sounds
is there
like
an
I don't want to
Elantrian?
clarify anything. Yeah. I
Ooh.
don't-
An Elantrian whose name is an Aeon and the Elantrian appears 4 times.
Hmm.
I mean, not a lot of Elantrians
Yeah.
appear in,
But like he doesn't have access to investiture.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, that's also a clue.
That is a clue. It's true.
Which I guess all Elantrians would have access to a lot of investitures, so that
Yeah.
Sure. Olonui was a great guess.
yeah.
I'm annoyed it wasn't true.
Sorry, Daniel, you were wrong. It's actually Illinois.
Yeah.
It's like, did the Elantrian
Um,
appear first or the lake? Probably the Elantrian, to be honest. I don't know if we know.
We don't.
It's very interesting. though. Yeah.
The only name that's appearing in my brain is Duke Telrai. I know it's wrong.
No. I don't think anyone else has guessed on this clue, right?
No, it's got really difficult.
Yeah. Well, Adam, I'm going to expect you're not going to have a guess here on this one.
I can guess. I'll guess Bovidin. Does
No.
Bovidin's whatever that thing that Bovidin is show up 4 times in Elantris?
Well, it doesn't show up at
The,
all.
Word.
Yada?
The cult. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's not word.
No, not at all.
Okay.
You're like, I've heard of things, and I'm going to guess the things I heard of. I like that. I like that. What if it was Bovidin? That'd be pretty sick.
Ati.
It is not Ati. That is very funny, though. That is very, very funny. Clue 5.
I felt good about that one.
Yes. That feels pretty good. Clue 5. This character is not a character in a narrative sense, but rather in a lexicographical sense.
Oh,
Oh, okay. So it's an Aeon.
okay. All right.
Rayo.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so I was partially on the right track.
Yeah.
Is there an Aeon that is a shield? I feel like that's a thing.
That's a shame.
Oh, I think that's not specific enough for me to answer. Like, what does that even mean?
We don't see them
So
use.
I think it is shielding.
Yeah.
I don't know if we see them use that.
Hmm.
No, it's not used, but it's one we know. This is the last clue.
This is the last one.
Has access to a lot of investiture? Yes, because all the Aeons do.
Yeah, true.
Something
Yeah,
in
for
the
sure.
Cosmere named after them?
Yes.
An important thing in the Cosmere named after them.
Yeah, I would say so.
Aeon?
It is Aeon. I don't know if Daniel, I'll be totally honest. I don't know if we can say this character appears 4 times if Aeon is what every Aeon is based on. I don't know if that,
but it's
is-
Yeah, it is. The chapter headings for Elantris are Aeons.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, that is funny if that's what it is. I don't know.
I don't like that.
Yeah, well,
no, they do talk about
'Cause, like,
Aeon.
They talk about Aeon a lot. Yeah.
because that's like the it's the foundation for all of. But like Aeon Reo is not like it's based on Aeon, but it's a different character.
Yeah, sure.
Mhm.
And it's like, do we count the coastline and the mountains
as an
Aeon-
appearance
as
of Aeon?
Aeon?
No. Aeon is inspired by the shape of the landscape. The landscape is not the
I don't
character.
know. I don't think that's an unreasonable
It kind
question.
of is, though.
It kind of is.
It kind of
though.
is, but
It
kind of
defines
seems-
the character.
yeah, but it's not it. Like I can look at the map of Earth and I can go, oh, Italy looks like a boot. I'm gonna paint a boot, but Italy is not a boot.
Well,
But like, if you changed Italy to be a different boot and your painting changed to match magically, then is it a boot?
oh wait.
What?
Are these are the chapter icons based off Triad? Because chapter 1, 2, and 3 all have Aeon.
Oh, they might. So yeah, and
So must be this.
so I'm
And then-
I don't know
guessing
where
they
the fourth
counted
line
that
is.
those three, and then the one in the epilogue, in the glossary.
Yeah. Okay, but that would be true for all these Aeons then. That sense. Okay. Well, anyway, that was fun. Anyway, send your complaints to Daniel. That's fine.
It's
if you want.
it's clever. It's clever in a it's not bad for. I mean, it's not even frustrating. It's you clever, you got us.
What shenanigans? There would never be shenanigans here.
Not on this show.
This next one is sent by. This doesn't have a name, and I'm not just gonna read their email address out. So, anyway, you'll know who you are. Clue 1. This character uses investiture.
Nicaro.
It is not Nicaro.
Ati.
It's not Ati. I did really like Ati with the Aeon Ati.
Yeah.
That was a very good guess.
I felt
Especially
good
when I see
about
the
it.
answer that I know that it's an Aeon. So it's very amusing to me.
Sigil.
It's not Sixel. Clue 2. This character is well known on their planet.
I am
Word.
It's not Wern. What was that again?
fighting with
Word
entire
both did the
body
fourth, specifically.
Yes, of course.
not to guess Aeon. And I am only doing it because I don't know if it's known throughout the entire planet. I think it might be more of an Ireland.
Well, like,
I mean, Shy was able to recognize Aeon Rio, which is all sorts of complicated. I'm betting she would be able to recognize an Aeon.
That's fair.
I guess it's like, I don't know what this questioner, necessarily means from well known on their planet.
Yeah, that's also true. That's also true.
Like, if you're an awesome celebrity in Norway, are you well known on the planet?
Yeah. I guess
it's
that's fair. What
Was it
likely?
Jezrien?
It's not Jezrien.
No, surely two people are not going to send Aeon. Like that's even if we are like fishing for shenanigans.
And would Grace send me too that are both?
She would.
No, she would. She
No.
would.
Okay.
I'm questioning that
Okay.
two exist in the pool for her to find them. No, this is insanity. I'm not going to guess Aeon yet. Well known on their planet.
Yeah.
Allomancer Jack.
Congratulations,
That's a good
Evgeni. It is Allomancer Jack. Congratulations. And I'll be totally honest, I was thinking about the well-known on their planet. It's like, well, I mean, how well-known is he on the southern continent? But it's like, it's probably, he's pretty well-known.
No.
He's pretty well-known. I think it's fine.
Incredible. Just the pool.
And you could have guessed Aeon.
I
The
could have
pool.
guessed Aeon.
Clue 3, this character is looked down upon by one protagonist, but admired by another. Clue 4, this character has never met any of the protagonists. And Clue 5, this character is an Allomancer.
That's false. He has met Wax.
Yeah, Met Wax.
He's
right?
Matt
Well,
Wax.
You can... Oh, sorry.
I
I needed to
was gonna
scroll for...
guess-
Sorry, Nash from Germany.
I
This
was gonna
yeah.
guess Wax, and then my brain just steered to check.
I was also thinking
the
of
last
Wax,
one.
but I'm not sure Wax is well known. Well, I guess it would
He's
after
pretty... I
at the
think
events
he
of
could
last
qualify.
medal.
He's pretty well known.
I mean, they Marcy studied him in school.
If
So
you can study a person in college, that'd be like, yeah, that's... I mean, I don't know
guess
if
that's
Marasi, did a dissertation, but, if you can do a dissertation, it's like, okay, enough people know that this person exists. All right, and so now it's time for something from our Who's That Cosmere character priority queue, and you could submit things to our Who's That Cosmere character. Blah, blah, words hard. How do I talk on podcast? I haven't done very many of these. By being a Herald on Patreon. Patreon.com/17chart. Herald is our highest tier, but you can submit things to the priority queue, and we will read them more frequently than the regular queue, which is a lot. We're never getting through the regular queue. We pick random stuff from the regular queue. All right, this one is sent by longtime Herald, Sean Carlfelt.
thank
Very
you.
long time.
Yep.
Herald. And clue 1, they cheat death repeatedly.
Who plays cards with Marsh?
Is this referring to are we? Surely we are guessing a single character, because it says they.
Yes. I will clarify, yes. We did have that one priority one where it could include 4 different characters. This is not that scenario.
Multiple valids is fine. I'm saying if the correct answer is Kaladin and Shallan.
They're meaning a singular. It's a singular
Yeah,
they.
okay.
Yeah.
Go. Cheat death repeatedly.
Yes.
Hoyd.
It's not Hoyt.
Wayne.
It's not Wayne.
Kelsier.
It's not Kelsier. Clue 2. Protected by spirits serving them.
Okay.
Yumi.
It's not Yumi.
I feel like I'm gonna need to start writing these down.
Silence.
It's not Silence.
No. Just the one spirit.
Hmm.
I mean, chain of
Yeah.
command. Oh, sorry. I was thinking the Admiral. Just the words that you said and the words that
Yeah.
appeared in my brain were not the same
Yeah,
words.
you know.
I don't feel good about guessing the Admiral, though, because we don't know enough about cheating death.
Do you want to guess Aeon?
Although, I don't know, cheating, you could probably make a case that binding the spirits of the dead to your service is cheating death. So I'll guess the Admiral of the Night Brigade.
It's not the Admiral. Clue 3. Lost in strong emotions. Always soaring. Always emotions strong in loss.
Oh, no. Okay. So we have all the clues.
Yeah.
You have 3 clues.
No,
No, we have all
it's
the
fully
clues.
tech.
Yeah.
Spirits. Although I'm not sure what the first clue reverse would be.
Repeatedly cheating death, that's just the same thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that doesn't help me.
Is it just Kaladin?
It is just Kaladin.
Okay.
Yeah. They protect spirits by serving them, and they also serve spirits by protecting them.
Yeah, which is in fact clue 4. They serve spirits by protecting. Repeatedly,
and then the
comma, death cheats them. which I think that's fun.
Oh,
that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That's good. Thanks, John.
That's fun. Clever.
Incredible. Well, you can find us on 17shard.com for all your news, discussion, theories, and fun that you could ever want. Join our Discord, discord.gg/17shard. It's got a lot of people there. Wow. Come join us. We also have our Patreon at patreon.com/17shard. And yeah, I think next time.
Also join that. Give us money.
If that is a thing that you can do and you desire to do so, great.
We got
That is
bills to
not
pay.
a thing you can do, then please do not worry about us. We'll be okay. If you wish. And yeah, wow, we did it. What if Brandon announced a summer spoiler stream next week and then we had more WoBs to do?
Well, he doesn't have much summer left.
Yeah, I mean, there's a 0% chance that would be the case, in my opinion. 0%.
Yeah.
But-
he keeps saying he owes us a stream and then just like nothing happens. So
Yeah, well,
it's not happening. December probably.
yeah, I feel, yeah. Look, we'll get one a year. I think that's okay, considering our pace.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, sure, we can't handle two.
maybe not. So we will see you next time for, I think, Blightfall reactions. And so check that out. Comes out. I was literally going to say June 1st. No, that's in the past. September 1st. So yeah, we'll be coming on probably.
What is September if not upside down June, though?
I don't. No.
June is the 6th month. September is
6
the
and
9th.
9.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was like literally thinking the text of September. I'm like, not really at all, actually. Though. Not even a little bit. And I'm like, is it like an Australia thing that you're doing with like Southern Hemisphere?
No, I already did that 2
Yeah, I
episodes
know,
ago.
exactly. Anyway, bye. We're done.
Bye.
Caw.